Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you some other records that I have in my collections. A few people asked me to do a video showing my records that were not Beatles or Paul McCartney related. So today I'm just going to be showing you all kinds of stuff from 1950s music, Elvis, Buddy Holly, to soundtracks, to all kinds of different stuff. This is very eclectic and random. But I hope that's okay for you guys. In fact, I actually had another video kind of ready to come out. I did like a video about my Beatles magazines, vintage and modern, but for some reason I just kind of thought, let me go ahead and finish up my record videos and then move into books, magazines, movies, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just going to check off my record box, if that's what you want to call it, and show you some of my random records. So let's just go ahead and get started. Alright, so I'm gonna start with some like 1950s stuff. So first up here I have Buddy Holly's Greatest Hits. This is volume 2. You can see the track listing on there. My dad got this for me at a local thrift store, so it means a lot to me because I always think of him when I play it. Next I have this extremely beat up copy of like a 1950s compilation album. This was the very first vinyl I ever got. I was 10 years old and I was getting into rock and roll music, and this was the very first vinyl I ever bought. And so it starts off with Little Richard, who I love. I remember watching movies and being like, oh, that's Little Richard's Tutti Frutti. Like, I just love Little Richard and still do. But it goes from him to all kinds of just different 1950s songs. I don't know if you can see there. Probably not, but there's that one. Next I have Elvis's Blue Hawaii. This is one of the very few vinyls in my collection that I have not opened. I kept it in the shrink wrap. There's that one. I have Cruisin' 1956. Now this is like kind of like a radio broadcast, so it has advertisements from the 50s along with the songs themselves. So it's kind of like if you were cruising around listening to the radio, this is what it would sound like in the 1950s. Kind of a cool album. Remember listening to it a lot. Next I have Rolling Stone Presents 50s Rock and Roll Classics. This was a birthday gift. Track listing there. Those are actually all my 1950s records. I don't actually have a whole lot of 1960s vinyls that aren't Beatles related, so I'm just gonna move straight into Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. This is one of my all-time favorite albums. I just think it is an incredible album, so innovative. It's a concept album, which I love concept albums. This is just incredible. Next I have Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits. Really skipping ahead in time, I have Thriller by Michael Jackson. And it's so funny because I think I was around 10 years old when I got this as well. And I saw on the back this guy named Paul McCartney, and I was like, Mom, who is this guy who's on this Michael Jackson album? And she was like, I think he was a Beatle. And I was like, oh, I'm probably not gonna like him then. Fast forward, I can see where that yeah, I can't stand him. Next I'm gonna move into my classical records. I have Mozart's Greatest Hits. It's funny to me to call Mozart's music a hit, like greatest hits, but anyway, it has some of his most famous pieces. I really love Mozart. He's probably my favorite composer. Him, Beethoven, and Debussy are probably my favorite composers, but I really love Mozart. I also have Symphony in G minor and the Jupiter Symphony by Mozart. really old vinyl here. I have Violin Concerto in G major and Violin Concerto in D major by Mozart. I really love the violin, so it's only natural that I should like Mozart's violin concertos. And then lastly, in my classical section, I have Bach. Okay, and now we're gonna get into my favorite portion of my collection, which are soundtracks. So first I have the Back to the Future soundtrack. I bought this when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. I really loved the film, and of course loved the music to it as well. I have Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory soundtrack. I adored this film as a kid, like 4 years old. I would watch it over and over and over again to the point where it would annoy my parents. But I still love it so much, and so this was a Christmas surprise. And the cool thing about it is that it's actually on golden vinyl, so let me show that to you real quick. There we go. I think that is so cool. And I just saw the trailer for the new Wonka movie that's coming out. What did you guys think about that? Because I think it looks kind of interesting. So next I have Amadeus, which is from the film about Mozart. And this is actually, Amadeus is the film that got me into classical music. I have always had to play it for, like, I play piano, and so I've always had to play it, classical music, as a chore, but I didn't start appreciating it until I watched this film and then got into the music, and now I love classical music. But yeah, I love this film and I adore the soundtrack. I have The Sting by Scott Joplin. Well, this is from the film The Sting, but it features Scott Joplin's music, which I also love. I'm a huge fan of Ragtime, so there's that one. Next I have Pee-wee's Big Adventure. This soundtrack is done by Danny Elfman, who is one of my favorite film composers. This was also a Christmas gift, and it is on red vinyl, so let me show that to you. There's that one. I have the Buddy Holly story, and unfortunately these songs are not sang by Buddy Holly, they are covers, so I'm not a really huge fan of this album. I have American Graffiti. I remember listening to this so many times. I've never seen the film, but I just love all the 50s music, so yeah, there's that one. I have The Nightmare Before Christmas. The music is also done by Danny Elfman. Beauty and the Beast. The soundtrack. I guess that's the sticker. I'm not really sure why I put it in there upside down. Walt Disney's Cinderella soundtrack. I really love the cover on this. It's very aesthetic and cute. One of my all-time favorite soundtracks, Mary Poppins. I love the music to this one. And finally, I have The Greatest Showman, which I believe is a modern classic. I have a feeling it will go down as one of the best musicals of the time. So yeah, those were all of my random records. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's not Beatles related, but I will have tons of Beatles content coming soon. I just wanted to show the rest of my records in case you guys were interested. So I hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.